He's the home voiceover studio engineer to the stars in Los Angeles, California. A Virginia Tech grad whose knowledge of the latest recording gear is second to none. He's a voice actor and the home studio master, hailing from Buffalo, New York. His home studio skills and knowledge of voiceover recording is unmatched. When Dan and George talk shop, people listen, and the talk continues tonight. Welcome to East West Audio Body Shop. And now, live from his high-tech facility in Santa Monica and his penthouse studio in Buffalo, here are George Whittam and Dan Leonard.
Good evening, world, or actually it's probably middle of the afternoon somewhere. I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we is East West Audio Body Shop. How's everybody doing tonight? Great to have you with us. Cold here in Buffalo. How's it out in Los Angeles land?
It's actually cold for Los Angeles. It's about 55, maybe 56 degrees. Freaking freezing.
Yeah, but if you're in New England, you're freezing your tuchus off, and you got about 10 feet of snow on top of you. But not here in Buffalo. Anyway, let's move on. We got a great show tonight. We've got lots to talk about, lots to cover. We have lots of guests, a couple of announcements. We have some great stuff to demonstrate, a great tip of the week. And first off, we a couple of things. We would like... Yes, well, we would like to give condolences to the family of Vanessa Hart, who unfortunately passed away last week. I know she was a great friend of many people, including me, and it was very sad to see her passing, and our hearts go out to her family. So, take a second of silence for that and drink to her. And
apparently there's if you want to download, they made a webinars of hers available on. I just got an email from having these things lined up in advance in your brain are usually a good idea, but this is coming together at the last minute. But Julie Williams sent an email out saying we'd like to give away a webinar that she taught on audiobooks and getting work, so in honor of her. So if you're interested in that, contact Julie Williams.
Yeah,
and if you know who she is, then you know how to get hold of her. Yeah.
That's right. Yes, it's also somebody's birthday. Is it like Kara Edwards' birthday?
I just saw that pop up on Skype. Yeah, I get all the birthday notifications on Skype.
Me too. It's like, who is this person? It's their birthday. Kara Edwards. Oh, yes, she gets a card.
Yes, and on top of everything else that's going on, besides the fact that we have got Erik Sheppard tuning in on Skype tonight, we also have this vagabond man to my right. There he is. John Taylor.
I am here. I heard there was a show going on. I rapped on the door. They let me in. They handed me a microphone. And it's showtime. Showtime.
Showtime.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
I always love having you.
Great to have you with us, John.
Good
we haven't had you on. Yes. And it's nice of you to join us all the way from New England.
Yes.
So anyway... where it's snowing a lot.
It's blue screen.
Yes. What's a blue screen?
I mean, he's in New England.
That's right.
Oh, he's in New England.
That's
joining?
Right.
That's
right.
Oh, yeah. I got the Edge studio
it's
backdrop
blue
too at
screen.
Home. Yeah.
Yes, it's amazing. Anyway, one of the first things we want to talk about, we have a little demo that we want to give you that we're actually giving you right now. So, George?
We are very, very, very early beta testers of Source Connect now. And Dan and I thought, well, let's try it tonight for our audio. Now,
might as well.
And this is, I got to say, to Rebekah Wilson and Robert Marshall at Source Elements, they've got big brass ones for letting us try out something that is this new and this sort of untested in the real world. So,
Rebekah may take exception to that.
Well, she'd get a kick out of it.
She might.
Because she's watching right now, I'm sure.
Cool.
But they got big brass ones for letting us try out something that's this new and using it live. And just one little thing before I run our little video here, this little package. We are actually using it with Skype. So the picture you're seeing of Dan is Skype. The audio you're hearing is Source Connect now. So what's interesting, though, to me, though, is that we had some dropouts early in the show when Dan was doing the intro in Skype. And the sound in Source Connect was also dropping out at exactly the same time. which was really bizarre. I would have thought that the one or the other would be completely disconnected from each other. So maybe that was my own network. I don't know, but I just thought that was a really weird little thing that happened. But
and
no matter
coincidentally, your daughter was watching videos online in the other room.
My daughter is streaming Netflix 24/7 in the living room. Say what you will about Verizon, but thank you, Fios. That's all I got to say. Fios is really awesome. But anyway, this is a little package here. It's a great interview with Robert and Rebekah explaining what's Source Connect now, why it's different, and
they're good at explaining things.
They are. They're very knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable. So I will roll this for you guys now. So enjoy this little demo. And as soon as I find it on my screen where I have many, many, many video clips, I will play it.
It's right over there.
I think it's the 8th one.
Here it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we're about to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, George Whittam.
Hi, this is George Whittam from Whittam's World, and I've got a special report today to share some new technology that is going to be interesting to all you voice actors and musicians, but mostly voice actors, I'm sure. And it's called Source Connect Now, and it's from Source Elements. This is a new way of connecting studios to stream audio back and forth, and what makes it really unique is you can connect multiple studios at the same time and all be together in one session. So speak of the devil, I've got the developers of the software right here. I've got Rebekah Wilson, and I've also got Robert Marshall. Robert's in Chicago. And Rebekah, where the heck are you?
Mexico City. Hola, buenos dias. ¿Cómo están?
So they're standing by. We've been playing with this for a while. I thought maybe we'd capture a little bit of sound and picture, let you guys see what it looks like. And Rebekah, tell me what makes this unique, and well, give me a little background on it.
Sure. We started working on this last year, and we showed a demo at AES in October. I think you saw that. That had video as well with it, so that's another feature that will come with this. But this is a version that we just really wanted to focus on for the voice market. We're getting it to work with Source Connect, with iOS, with Android, with Chrome. And it's just gotten to the point where, like, okay, let's just let everyone start using it. So it's very, very, very close. This just has the basic features that we think everyone needs, like you can mute and change the volume. You can monitor yourself, so if you don't have the hardware, you can at least hear yourself back in your cans.
So if I hit mute right now, there goes Rebekah.
Yep. You should hear me go away.
Yeah. And then
I'm still there.
Yeah, and I can mute Robert. Mute Robert's gone. Cool. So it is an early beta, so there's little bugs that you're working on fixing, but it's going to be available to the public in how long, do you think?
Well, we're going to release it initially for users of Source Connect so they can play around with it, and we can get a good feel for the initial set of bugs. And then after that, we'll do a more widely open public beta, and then it's on the market.
Yeah, it's going to be really affordable too, so we look forward to seeing a lot more people being able to have access to this kind of thing.
So what, besides the fact that you don't need to have an iLock and you're not buying a software up front or a plugin, you're just using a service online.
Right.
Right, it's a subscription.
What else sets this apart from traditional Source Connect?
Robert?
Probably the biggest difference is this is using the Opus codec instead of AAC. Mm-hmm. So that's it's definitely a difference in the way it sounds and the way it treats errors. This is going to tend to try to stretch and mask things instead of trying to keep the time value exactly the same. Mm-hmm. So that certainly plays a role in other features that Source Connect is capable of that really aren't possible on a platform like this. So the restore and replace feature of Source Connect right now are things that you won't see on the Chrome version of Source Connect.
So, for example, if you are going to be working to picture, so everything has to be sample or time code accurate, this would not be the right choice because it is allowed to lose sync or lose drift or whatever.
And you know what? For recording, this is going to be the same as ISDN, and ISDN doesn't do the time stretching like that. But
right.
Every system has its own unique way of glitching when it does have bandwidth issues, and so Source Connect beyond. It does, and this has it seems to be pretty low latency as well, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's got some advantages. Like I said, though, the biggest difference is that in the way it handles errors, and therefore the ability to do things like the replace and restore. So this is much more of a what you hear is what you get kind of connection, instead of having a tracked audio with a proxy.
Yeah, and it's more usable in the sense that it just works. It's more like it just works in the sense of Skype. You know, you just log in and connect, and we have guest accounts, and I don't know.
Right.
It's going to be very, very, very easy for everyone to use, and that's really great. You don't need to worry about ports or anything, and it's really firewall resilient. And all of those features are actually going into Source Connect as well. Very shortly, we've been working on making them compatible, so Source Connect is benefiting from a lot of the things that we've learnt building this.
Yeah, that's great. And Source Connect's been in development for almost 10 years, right?
10 years. It'll be our 10-year anniversary next March.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, we have a big party on the internet.
The Source Connect party.
Ever get everyone together.
Oh, now, that tells you a lot. I mean, that's 10 years of R&D and failing again, and getting it, fixing it and getting better and adding, support and all the stuff. Understanding customers, what people actually need and want, and what they're willing to pay, and all that stuff comes into developing something that people don't realize is so challenging. You guys have, stuck out the test of time, So what do you need to use this? What software platform? You might have mentioned it, but you have to be on Chrome, right?
Right. So you need Chrome, and it works on Mac, Linux, Windows, and Chromebooks. And as I said, Android very, very
Chromebooks.
Soon. Yeah.
Oh, you can buy one of those $250 Chromebooks.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. That's tempting.
And that's it. And a microphone. You do need a microphone that does dual mono at least, at 48 kilohertz. That's a limitation of Chrome.
Oh,
but
I see.
Most of us have that already.
It actually
but speaking of audio input, there's one thing that's really special. It's called Source Nexus. I don't know if you've checked it out, George.
No, I think I saw a glimpse of it at a show, but that's it.
Like Nexus is important for stuff like this because probably one of the biggest differences between Source Connect and what this is in its core is that this is not presented as a plugin at all.
Right.
And for voice talent,
Pro Tools, yeah.
Yes, exactly. At least Pro Tools for now. But for voice talent, that's not so much of a problem because they just need to input their voice and hear what the other people are saying to them. But on the record side, and I think that's where voice talent needs to be sensitive as to what the other side has to do to be able to record and deal with these streams. And so one of the nice things about, say, Source Connect is that it brings the audio directly into the workstation of the recording engineer.
Right.
So to basically create that facility with other applications, we made Source Nexus. And you can basically think of it as an application audio router. It can route audio to and from any other application, including what we have right now is an AAX plugin for Pro Tools. We'll soon have VST and AU for it as well. But that basically allows you to route the output of your web browser, which hopefully is running Source Connect now, directly into Pro Tools and be recorded. Oh,
wow. That's a really key feature that some of the other systems out there cannot do, and it's a real kludge for some people to record the stream. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it usually ends up taking an external cable going out and plugging it into your audio interface, which certainly gets the job done. But then, depending on what other audio interface you have, it's probably, who knows? People are grabbing headphone output.
They're
unbalanced.
D to A to D, back and forth, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Right, and none of that makes most of your recording engineers happy when they have to jump through various hoops to change the way they have something set up already.
True. So how soon, well, actually, let me ask you this. Where do people go to find out when they get to start using it and then what it will cost? Because I know you guys are working on those details right now.
Sure. So for the early beta, users just need to, contact us. They can email us at info@source-elements.com, or they can call us at 312-706-5555, and we'd be happy to basically take their Source Connect account and light it up for the Source Connect Now beta, and they can play with it that way. When we go to the wider beta, we're not exactly sure how we're going to release that, but we'll make announcements over probably Twitter and all the usual feeds.
And then at that time, we'll know what it's going to cost, but it's going to be very affordable.
It's going to be it's going to be competitive basically, and I think people will be. I mean, price shouldn't be the barrier for being able to do high quality audio sessions,
and I think our idea also was because we still feel that Source Connect is the real tool for professional audio.
Real pro tool,
This is an add-on, so we're going to work on, if you've got Source Connect, we'll figure out how we can let you use this as well in some capacity, because we think they're a nice pair, and especially once we've got the version of Source Connect that talks to each other, that gives you a lot of power to be able to really work with anyone who doesn't have Source Connect or doesn't have the time or doesn't need it.
Or left their iLock at home.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm really excited to share this with the world. Thanks for giving me a sneak peek, a glimpse into this new software that I've been anticipating for quite a while since you guys told me about it. And we'll be looking forward to letting everybody test it in the real world soon. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. Thanks for calling in and let me do this demo with you. And anyway, this is George Whittam reporting for Whittam's World. If you have any questions for me for a future episode, just email whittamsworld@edgestudio.com, and I'll be happy to try to address it in a future episode.
So cool.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Are we back? Oh, is it over finally?
Yes. Clue. Yes, those
No,
demos.
I had already seen that before. And it was excellent.
I'm aware a lot of people probably have, but I'd like to bring it all full circle here.
So what's the difference between Source Connect, the standalone that we all have, and this new product?
Okay, a couple real fast differences. One, it doesn't require an iLock.
Nice.
2, it's a monthly service fee. And 3, the latency is definitely lower because it's using this Opus codec, which is different from the codec that Source Connect Standard and Pro uses, which is called AAC. So it's lower latency.
Awesome.
And the last thing that's that's different is that, and this is something that people that really do a lot of production need to worry about if they work to picture, the sync on Source Connect now, the latency, it can drift. It can get longer, it can get shorter. And that's because of the way Opus works.
Okay.
Source Connect Pro and Standard are sample locked, period. And so if you're working to picture, that's obviously extremely important. Like if you're working on with SOTs, sound on tape, it's really crucial to have that. So those are the differences. But
Cool.
I think for you guys, for the majority of you out there, the workaday voice actor who wants to do sessions remotely, this might be a tool you really want to consider. And I know it's hotly pursued by IPDTL or vice versa, but it's these things. This competition is good, as we always say.
That's right.
The best man
makes
win.
it better.
Yeah, beta versus VHS. Let's hope that this time beta wins instead of VHS.
You're still bitter about that after all these years, aren't you?
Yeah. Not always the better tool wins for some reason. So that's it.
Anyway,
we're done blabbing on about that.
Excellent. Well, we got lots more coming up tonight, along with the echo of my voice.
Sorry about that. My speakers are on.
Yeah, speakers are on. That's better. Okay. And we've got Tip of the Week coming up, special features, Erik Sheppard and John Taylor, who's right below my chin. So stick around. We'll be right back here on East West Audio Body Shop.
I'm picking your nose.
VO Studio Tech. Recording made simple.
Hi, I'm Peter McHugh.
This is Jim Tasker from Los Angeles, California.
Hi, this is Bill Ratner in Los Angeles.
Hi, this is Scott Rummel here in Yorba Linda, California.
Hi, my name is Rick Wasserman.
Hi, this is Tom Kane.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Marshall.
Hi, my name is Zurich.
Hi, I'm Mary McKittrick.
Randy Thomas chiming in.
Hi, this is Joe Szymanski.
Hey, this is Rick Robles.
Hi, my name is John Patrick Armstrong.
I was turned on to George by none other than Don LaFontaine, who always swore by his help.
George is absolutely awesome.
ISDN, Source Connect, Phone Patch, FTP, You name it, Georgia set it up.
It's really the best thing I've ever done for myself. I feel free, safe, fearless, like anything is possible in here.
Unless you like to look for opportunities to waste time, call George.
And he did all of that, long distance over the phone and the internet.
I'm very happy with George, and I cherish him.
Thanks, George. You make it easy.
And now, back to East West Audio Body Shop, where every week it's Apollo 13.
Yes, it is. Anyway, we're back here on East West Audio Body Shop. Great to have you with us. We got a big crowd tonight. That's great. We love having you here. Tell your friends, get them in here to watch the show because we got lots to teach you. And we learn a lot from you. And you get to ask questions, and we have great guests like John Taylor, who continues to be below my chin somewhere. No, he's not, actually. You can probably...
There he is. Hi,
okay,
Johnny
good.
John.
Yes. Anyway, but before we get to the tip of the week, I had a little adventure today. It's President's Day, of course, here in the U.S., and apparently only in Ontario, it's Family Day. So we decided to take advantage of both. So we took a little trip. The mileage on my car, on my Prius, is so good, we actually decided to go to one of the Jovian moons of Europa. So roll the tape here, and you can see exactly what we did. We'll take it from the top.
There we go. We got Dan. We got to VO.
Okay. All right. So, yes, this is of course the frozen world of Europa. Now, actually, this is Crystal Beach, Ontario, just right near Buffalo. And weird things. Maybe you've been hearing about some of these ice caves that have been forming along the Great Lakes. This is one of them here. And you can see people lining up and walking around and seeing these great things. There's a cave and stuff like that. And of course, I follow my tuchus here in a second, but did that happen yet?
Back in 3, 2, 1.
All right. So, yeah, that's what happens when you're not watching where you're going and you're holding up an iPhone and you say, Dan, you really should watch what you're doing.
Now,
meant to that.
If you put Studio Suit in one of those ice caves, would it be a good sound environment?
Actually, with the acoustics in there were pretty cool.
Cool.
You know, I mean, if you wanted to do an ice cave, it's like, that preset ice cave, it would have sounded like that. So, anyway, so that was the ice caves of Lake Erie. Anyway, okay, I thought I'd show that since I was there today, and
I think it's doing that because this is.
Why, is there a problem?
No, I have that knob really tight.
Oh, okay. Anyway. All right, so time for tip of the week so we can get back here on schedule. Something happened. Yeah, what? Something happened.
This end, so go,
okay, well, John's there. I expect that. So I got something in the mail this week, and I thought I'd demonstrate. So roll that. I got a call from my brother-in-law last week. Great guy, great musician. And he says, hey, I got a couple of extra mics that I don't use anymore. Would you like them? And I'm like, well, what do you have? And he's like, it's an RE20. An RE20, I said? Absolutely. And here it is. Everybody wants one of these, right? Well, if I were still a radio jock or a radio talk show host. I used to be, and I used one then. But we're voice actors, and that's different. So why do some use it? A couple of reasons. It's a dynamic mic. It's not as sensitive. If you're in a noisy place, it can hide that. Now, most radio studios I've been in, and that's a lot, were not designed with acoustics in mind. They were built with the RE20 and other dynamic broadcast mics in mind. It's cheaper that way. Another reason people like it is that you have to use it so close, which exaggerates proximity effect and makes you sound deeper in voice, like you're on the radio. But like I just said, you're not on the radio. Like I say every week on this show, the idea of a home studio is to make you sound like you. Because it's a dynamic mic, you have to talk right into it. Now, how many people do you talk to half an inch from their eardrum? Now, the RE20 has a little leeway, and you can back off it a little bit. But you have to raise the gain, which increases background noise. But here's the big problem I have with the RE20 when it comes to voiceover and narration. Let's compare. It has 27 bones with 29 joints wrapped in 123 ligaments. A medical miracle issued in pairs, and it's our sole obsession. Golf Pride designs grips to make hands feel at home, like our new Tour Velvet Super Tack grips, with diamond grid texture for control and tacky feel for more confidence. Helping hands here, help hands here. Grip confidence. Grip Golf Pride. It really has a different sound from studio condenser mics, so if your voice is matched with another, the difference is going to be striking. I can see having one of these if you do a lot of local production radio spots, especially car spots.
Hard sound! Automotive!
But if you do a great deal of e-learning, documentaries, or audiobooks, which I think is the majority of the work most of us do, use your studio condenser, not an RE20. If you have a background noise problem, deal with it physically. Don't try to hide it with a mic that won't present you as you exist. And that's my tip of the week. Yes, we're back here with our RE20 here on the radio. It's something about this microphone that just makes you want to talk like that. We're not exactly sure. It's a broadcast mic, kids. It's designed for radio. Because if you're doing something like intimate, and you're like talking like this, something like that, you can't hear me very well, can you? Even if I go like that, you can't hear me all that well. It's not designed for that. What you really want is the sound of a nice condenser microphone where you can back off the mic a little bit and still sound like you. So we'll just take this and shove it over here. Anyway.
Commence shoving.
Mr. Whittam?
Yes, thoughts. Well, I mean, we agree on that pretty heavily. I mean, there is one dynamic mic that some people really have actually found that they enjoy. It's called the SM7B. It's made by Shure.
Yes.
And it's a similar, I mean, it has the similar properties of the RE20.
Hard sell, automotive super sale.
Exactly.
I like that commercial.
Actually, that was pretty cool. Good clip. We got to find out who that was, actually. If anybody knows who that was, chime in the chat room.
He'll answer the phone. Hello!
We'll give props. But yeah, so dynamic mics do have a place. But if you're doing subtle reads, soft reads, man, you're going to need some help. And you might need something like one of these cloud lifters. This is the Cloud CL1, which will boost the output of your dynamic mic by about 20 to 23 dB. And it's running on phantom power. So it just gives you clean, an additional 20 or so dB of extra gain for those really low output mics like those RE20s and stuff. So if you really want to use one, get one of those. I definitely recommend it unless you're using a really good preamp.
I actually had a client with an SM7B today who's doing audiobooks with it.
Oh.
But she was using it with a cloud lifter and an M box, and we were getting a lot of hiss. So you can probably guess what I suggested her to do.
Get rid of the M box.
Well, that was my primary thing, and replace it with something like a Scarlett 2i2, or she was on a Mac, so maybe
Apogee 1,
an Apogee 1, or an iTrack Solo, because she also has an iPad. Just a great little tool to have.
Maybe there was too much DJ saliva on it.
It may have been. Ew. Also, I don't like the SM7B because it's got that big foam screen on it. We all know how I feel about big foam screens.
Right.
Anyway, so that's my take on the RE20. Think what you want about dynamic mics. You know, they're great for broadcasting, but for voiceover, for just doing, other stuff, forget about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Erik Sheppard will be with us in just a couple of minutes, and John Taylor will continue to annoy us, and we'll be right back here on East West Audio Body Shop. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Leonard.
Now back to EWABS with Dan and George.
No, it's George and Dan.
No, it's not. It's Dan and George.
George and Dan.
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 George and Dan.
Dan and George.
George and Dan.
Dan and George.
George and Dan. Dan and George.
Georgian Bay. What lake is Georgian Bay on? Come on, social studies students. It's on Lake Huron. Anyway, which is also frozen over. Anyway, we're back here in East West Audio Body Shop, and aside from John Taylor, who is a wonderful person and joining us live in the studio, joining us from the town so nice they named it twice, New York, New York, my agent and agent to the stars, Erik Sheppard. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to the show. Nice to have you back on.
Nice to be on. Well, I thought it was going to be nice, and I didn't mind coming back, and but nobody told me that John Taylor was going to be there. Otherwise, I would have made some excuse. Normally, John Taylor.
Yes.
It's a surprise. What's happening in the background there? Is there a fire, or what's going on, Dan?
No, that's just my voiceover light. It's just, it changes colors. Everyone's wondering, how do you have a different color in there? I changed what Harlan did with that. So anyway, you can modify these things, and it'll glow all sorts of different colors.
Are they like the disco lights they used to sell at Radio Shack?
They are actually.
Really?
I bought this at Lowe's, but anyway. Okay, so anyway, let's get into the meat of the matter. Let's first, because you and I were going at it on LinkedIn this week, or on Facebook or something, whatever it was. Somebody said, hey, you should see what Sheppard said about ISDN replacements. What are your thoughts, sir?
But we're going to go at it anyway, because you got to pry my RE20 out of my cold, dead hands. So already it's going to be a battle royale. I like that mic.
It's a great mic.
I use it actually fairly often for telephony stuff. That's very kind of big and boisterous anyway. But otherwise, we got a bunch of mics around here. But it's nice, and you could use it as a hammer too. It weighs like 45 pounds.
I know it does.
Yeah. So what you have to refresh my memory. What were we arguing about lately?
Well, you had mentioned that that ISDN alternatives are not ready for prime time, I think is what you said. And I think I jumped back and said, wait a second here. Here's an opportunity for you to get more people more work because they don't have ISDN, but they can still connect with other studios. And so you should be totally behind us on this.
I am. See, that's where there was a little miscommunication. I am 100% behind these technologies. One less box in my rack is fantastic. But I have two major concerns. The one being that I still do not think they are ready for prime time, especially in the case of this Ipdiddle and what's the other one? Soundstreak. I'm hearing things come back. I haven't used them personally, so I'm halfway talking out my ass. But I've heard quite a lot of people discussing it and saying, well, there's jitters and there's a few problems, but they were minor. Well, if you're doing a national commercial, a minor jitter, even if it drops for a millisecond, that's it. The take is wrecked. So hey, okay, fine. We're getting to a point where hopefully, eventually, this is the stuff that we're going to be using. ISDN is a pain in the ass and it's antiquated and et cetera, et cetera. But what really is getting me concerned is that talent are super, super gung ho about pushing this stuff, to the point where I'm hearing from talent where they're almost insisting, they have to try this IPDTL. This is such a big thing. And I know if they try it, they're going to love it and they got to try it. And there's talk online of, we've really got to push this stuff and we have to let people know. And, my point is, that's ridiculous. If the client wants ISDN, well, then you got to give them ISDN. I'm not going to go to one of my clients after I talk to a talent and say, well, listen, they're really insisting on this. So first I want you to get Chrome and then use that and then go to this website or log on to this, or you got to pay X amount of dollars for the Soundstreak stuff. That's ridiculous. If they're doing 10 ISDN sessions a day and that's what they prefer, I'm not going to rock the boat and, insist that they try to use something else. It's just, it's rude. So I just want to, hey, that's great. Talent really want to push this. That's fine. But don't make, one of my clients a guinea pig on something that's really, even if it was fantastic and there were no problems with it, you still got to roll with whatever the client wants. Their name's at the top of the check.
I had a client that asked me during an ISDN session, hey, have you heard about that IPDTL? That's the only time that I've answered their question, but I didn't initiate, hey, you got to get rid of ISDN now.
Right.
And then we did a test and it worked, but I wouldn't have pushed it on them. And I think you're absolutely right. You're not going to get them to change.
With ISDN, so many studios are, they just absolutely insist on it. They have a definite, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of policy. And, look, man, if that's what they want, I was already kind of primed to be angry about this because I've had many, many situations where we set up a little project for talent. They said, well, it's going to be a phone patch. And they go, well, no, I use Skype for phone patch. Well, great. Do you have the Skype phone number? No. Get them to get on Skype and contact. No, dude, it's a phone patch. Like, this is simple stuff. They want to be able to call you. Sometimes they want a conference on there and then call in, and talent have this kind of idea. Not, obviously not all talent, but, some talent have this like, well, this is how I do things. Well, too bad, man. You got to do things the way that the client wants you to do them. And when that's, when people forget whose name is at the top of the check, that always, it always sets off some alarms for me.
Yeah. Well, and now the point being, I think one of the things that people are pushing it is another tool that they can put in their toolbox. So if they find a talent that they like, somebody you represent, and say, all right, can I get this person? And you can say, well, they're on this. Do you really like this person? Absolutely. They have that system in place. And when ISDN goes the way of the aqueduct, then we will, then they will be ready. What's going to happen when Bo Weaver's ISDN gets shut down? Everybody's going to go, well, wait a second. Why didn't we go to this technology before? They should have it and have it on hand and be willing to use any one of these items.
Yeah.
And that's just the thing that we're trying to push. And the idea that we've got all these different products out there. So why not at least have these things in your toolkit that you can use to access the greatest amount of talent?
Yeah, especially if they're not cost prohibitive to do so.
Could you use it as a bridge? Could you use the newer technology based on the Opus codec? Could you use that as a bridge to ISDN?
Of course. If that's your only way to connect.
And would they know the difference? Because there's almost no latency, Eric, in the new Opus based stuff from Source Connect and Ipdiddle, as you called it.
I like Ipdiddle.
And you get more latency on a cell call than you do on these things. So
yeah, really.
It's true.
And we actually tested it side by side with a cell call and also a Skype, not a Skype, VoIP call on Vonage, and the IPTD will actually beat it.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Like I said, I'm rooting for this stuff wholeheartedly. But if there's even one little jitter, that's not going to fly for a national commercial.
But it's just fine when you have to go, let's restart our ISDN boxes, which is like people do it so often I have to rig up the power switches just so they can frickin' turn their things on and off.
Yeah, I mean, that's not 100% either. But, the point is, if the talent, the client rather, they want, two cans and a string, we'll eat your soup because, anyway, that's a point. I've had my black suit laid out for many, many years for the ISDN funeral. We actually can't even get it.
Right.
We live out in the sticks on Long Island, and as we got the $1 zillion studio and all our stuff, and we have the box at my mother-in-law's house, like 20 minutes away, because otherwise the closest studios out in the Hamptons are charging $400 an hour for ISDN.
Geez.
Yeah, which is insane. So, but we got our booth here and all our mics here and stuff. And for now, if we want to do an ISDN session, we got to drive to my mother-in-law's and go in this closet studio we set up, which is nuts. So I'm all for this stuff. But I don't think it's absolutely ready. And two, even if it is, look, as long as there are going to be clients out there who want ISDN, and there are going to be for a long time, we're going to have a box, and everybody else should either have a box or have a local studio in their speed dial, because if they want it, you got to have it.
I was following Lindsay's journey to ISDN, and we were all rooting for, yes, it's going to happen. She's going to get it. And Dave Immer, and I was like, yeah, it'll happen. No problem. And Dave Immer got my ISDN hooked up sooner than I got cable.
Immer was amazing.
He's
I got to
great.
tell you.
Yeah.
But he talked to Verizon, and then we had a date. They said, all right, we'll be there, whenever the day was at this time, and it was all set up. Lindsay was my wife, by the way. Anybody who doesn't know, she's also in voiceover and runs the agency with me. She was like literally like tearing up, like, oh my God, this is so amazing. We got the ISDN. And, it was, it was really cool. And then Verizon got back to Immer, and he got back to us, and whoops, sorry, no, we screwed up. And it was canceled.
I'll chime in with my stories on that. One of my clients just moved. I won't say his name, just for privacy's sake. But he moved, and when he got to the new place, they told him Verizon had ISDN there. He knew that it was available in the neighborhood because he had moved. He had only moved 2 months before that to another home, and then had to move again. Long story, but when he moved to the new home, Verizon said, sorry, Charlie, no ISDN for you. It basically took his business management to threaten a lawsuit to get Verizon to put that line in. Wow. Then when the guy shows up from Verizon, the old guy who's been doing this for 35 years, and he's like, I don't get it, man. The service is right here on the pole. And he's like, an hour later, his wires are run and it's plugged in. So that was Verizon just saying, we're not offering it in this footprint because we have Fios there. We've already pulled out the support for copper, and it's gone when it's not actually gone.
But that voice talent has to climb the pole to do voiceover like Green Acres.
Yeah,
not that convenient. The mother-in-law's place works better.
And then he had a friend come over who's been trying to get ISDN for over a year, who's down in Hermosa Beach.
Yeah,
and she came over. Like ran over in her car, like just to hang out and get to pal up with the ISDN guy.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Oh man,
you come over to my house.
I was ready to go out for a beer with the guy who installed it down at my mother-in-law's house. I was trying to get all kinds of information from him. I had actually, not to bash on Verizon, but
I love Fios.
You're on Verizon.
I wish we could get that. I mean, like I said, we're out in the sticks.
Yeah.
But I had written a blog post, kind of tongue in cheek, before this whole thing, when when pretty much the Northeast was supposed to be shut down for new ISDN, saying, "Oh, Verizon, come on, help us out." I do your voiceovers and that kind of thing, and I never used Twitter because I'm freaking old or whatever, and but because I had written a blog post, I put a link on Twitter, and my Twitter account was suspended. So I realized that somehow I got like upset about it, and I was like, "Wait, what?" So there.
It's scary out there.
Yeah.
And now that Comcast owns Time Warner Cable, watch yourself.
Get it. Yeah. There's going to be caps on our internet. Whatever.
Ugh.
Yes.
Full disclosure: I play a bunny, a turtle, and an octopus for Comcast. So
We love benevolent
Comcast.
leaders.
Oh, you got that job.
Our benevolent leaders at Comcast.
I love them.
Time Warner Comcast.
Yes.
NBC Universal.
Yeah. Okay. Karen O'Brien has put up something from Green Acres there.
Comcast
Hey, Mr. Douglas. Anyway, let's get on to another subject since we're talking this one to death, although it's going to go on
It's
forever.
a hot topic.
It's a hot topic. Let's talk a little bit about agency. How's the agency business these days?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Tell us.
It's wonderful. I get to make clients happy and talent happy. It's a dream come true.
Outstanding. So how did you get
tongue? Remove
waiting.
Tongue from cheek. I love working with actors all day. It's magical.
Watch it.
Yeah, I'm talking to two guys I rep here, so yeah, I should be careful.
Yeah, you should be. Anyway, yes, and we want more work. That's the whole point.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yes. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about getting an agent, because we have a lot of people who perhaps are not as experienced as some of us. And is it absolutely essential to have an agent to get started in this business?
No, I mean it's pretty much impossible to get an agent when you're getting started. It's a little bit of a catch-22. An agent, for the most part, is not going to pick you up until you've proven that you could earn. That you could go out there and you could work, and then talent say, well, it's very difficult to get out there and work without an agent. But you got to kind of pay your dues usually in the beginning. You got to hustle. And, whether it's now we have so many more options with the pay to plays and, you try to find local gigs and word of mouth. But, generally, if you want to get in with a reputable agent, you kind of you got to go to the school of hard knocks first and get some stuff under your belt. And then you begin the process of finding agents. Even if your demo is absolutely outrageous, there's usually a slim chance that an agent, at least a bigger agent, is going to pick you up if you're green.
Right. Now, it's not, you don't just suddenly call an agent and say, hey, rep me. It's a much more complicated process.
You should tell more people that.
I tell them all the time. Are you kidding?
Because you'd be amazed how many emails and phone calls we have from people saying, I'd really like to get into this voiceover thing. Oh, geez, listen, you call me in 15 years, not now. Call other people first. And then go get a coach first and a demo. And it's, again, you got to pay your dues.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people think, well, I'll send them a demo. I would tend to think that how many demos do you get a day on average from people?
Probably 3 or 4 a day, or 3, 4, different people submitting.
Right. And of those, how many would you actually consider, or how many of them are just not ready for prime time? Probably what percentage would you think?
It's for us, so we keep a smaller roster. I've said it before, we could have 5,000 people tomorrow. Right. There's no shortage of people that are looking for talent, and we're looking for quality and not quantity. But we kind of crunched the numbers a while ago. We haven't done it lately, but it's easier to get into Harvard. We're looking at less than 1% of the submissions that we actually take on.
Mm. So the chances of you picking up an agent sending in a demo are not all that high then.
It depends on the agency. They're all different. If you're trying to get in with somebody with a larger agency, not that we're tremendous, but we're boutique, and so it's a little bit more difficult to get with us as well. But it's going to be difficult to get in with any like the super huge guys on the West Coast as well. Word of mouth goes a long way. If you have somebody, you've got a friend that's rep with them that could literally bring you in by the hand and get you to sit down, with their agent, that's going to go a whole lot farther than just sending in your demo, because we're inundated, with demos. There's just so many being sent in. There's so many talent out there. And some of these people are great. We get, before even we started recording the show tonight, I was chatting with Dan earlier, and he's like, hey, by the way, I got this talent you got to listen to. And, oh, Jesus Christ. And that's, everybody has a talent, that they recommend. But that does go a long way. If it's a friend or somebody that I trust, I'll listen to them. But I happen to be friends with and rep a lot of coaches, and they're constantly saying, listen, I have this student. They're fantastic. You got to listen to this person. Their sound is amazing. So they could be the next Don LaFontaine. I don't care what they sound like. They're a student. They're brand new. They don't know what to do in the booth. They don't know how to handle themselves with clients. You know, if I have clients that perhaps I got to treat with kid gloves, you know, and clients that perhaps that same client is making a whole lot of money for us, and we have to nurture this relationship. You know, I can't send you know, someone who's kind of fresh and new in there, who's not going to understand how to play the game, and potentially you know, jeopardize that relationship. So, you know, it's not all about the demo. The demos could be fantastic. I could get word of mouth, but if they don't have the experience, I'm sorry, I can't work with you.
Yeah, you've got to be able to produce what you put on that demo when the light goes on.
Do you read people? Do you have people read for you? If they're sort of an unproven commodity, do you give them a script and sort of, you know, hip pocket people or have them read for you?
I have. There's even there's a few coaching type places that have me come in, and they have all their people go in the booth one at a time and read for me. You know, and you get to give them a little bit of direction, which is great, and see what they come back with. But you know, I've been in situations where I've heard, and I've certainly heard afterwards, you know, from professional talent with many, you know, decades in the game, really kind of frazzled after a session because they were just beaten down, you know, by the direction, or, you know, they thought, oh my God, they were killing me, these people. And, you know, or you just hear, well, that director didn't know what the hell they were doing, whatever it is. You know, but these are people who have, you know, they've built up these calluses on their soul. This, you know, thick skin that you need as a talent. And if you're brand new and get thrown into the lion's den, you know, one, I don't think you're really going to have the chops to be able to take some really hardcore direction and really move away from what you feel is your comfort zone. You know, otherwise you might just, you know, wind up crying in the corner. You know, either way, we're not interested in working with people like that.
Yeah, well, you do have to pay your dues. But when you feel somebody is ready, do you approach people?
We do. We've done that quite often. It's every once in a while we decide, okay, we're a little short on this, or we need that, or you know, whatever. We're kind of thinking, hey, everybody likes the young guys. Well, let's find some more young guys. So we go through our submissions, and then we find people. And I always make phone calls. I say, you know, all right, find me their phone number, and I like to call them. And it's usually either, wow, hey, you know, that's great, and you're calling, and, you know, I know of you, or blah, blah, blah. Or what kind of psychopath are you? What kind of like sad, pathetic agent is just calling talent like out of the blue saying, we want to represent you, or we want to know more about you. But yeah, we found people and we said, man, we like what they're about. We do all kinds of stalking and find out what they're like on, you know, on Facebook and wherever they're kind of leaving trails. And if we say, you know, this seems like a cool person, we give them a call and find out more about them. So we've done that plenty of times.
Now, when you have the first meeting with somebody, or if it might be over the phone, if it's a person at a distance, isn't that first meeting with the agent to really just find out if you're insane or not? Isn't that what the agent's trying to figure out? Is like, okay, is this person really what their demo and their Facebook trail and their Twitter and all of that? They seem like they were okay, but then we talk to them and then you say, ooh.
Well, unfortunately, one or two has actually slipped through the cracks. Where I said, you know what, this person might be freaking
through the
nuts.
bars of the asylum.
Yeah, well, I mean, like Dan said, I mean, we're all a little nuts, you know. I mean, we're in the voiceover business, for God's sakes. Well, I don't know why Whittam hangs out with us. He's got to be a glutton for punishment. But I mean, we're all fairly not right, for God. You know, otherwise we would have gone to dental school. But yeah, every once in a while, there's ones that are really crazy. I'm really trying to, you know what? And I've even picked up people. And again, we keep a pretty small roster that perhaps I wouldn't have picked up before, but I've known them in social circles for a while, and I've heard them talk without, you know, just talking in a group with other talent, and I know that they weren't trying to impress me or anything or trying to get me to pick them up. They were just talking, and I said, you know what, this is somebody who really knows how to present themselves.
And they don't have that smell of desperation.
Exactly.
And they're just relating as a person.
Yeah, and you could just tell that they're a professional and they carry themselves professionally, and that has a lot more weight with me. And then, you know, and if we've been in, you know, in a situation where we've you know, been social before, then I have a pretty good chance of, is this person a jerk off or not? Because, hopefully I'm going to be, talking to this person and doing business with them. And, life's just too short. There's plenty of talent out there who are fantastic. And, I'd just rather not work with them.
Can I ask one more question? Because I know Dan's got one ready. But, you hear a lot about people in the demo production business and the coaching business. They say, don't make your demo unless you're ready. Now, as a person that buys talent for other clients, do you ever hear somebody's demo who wasn't ready, and are they written off because of that? And they're gone in your mind?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Your demo is going to be huge to us as agents, but it's also going to be extremely important kind of marketing tool that we use to get you in front of people. Yeah, sure, we're trying to bring in auditions, and auditions are a huge part of it. But, even when you're not around, we're trying to sell you through the website, or, I get multiple emails a day. We're looking for, an older female, and so I send them a list of links, and then they go and listen to their demos. So if your demos are, not ready for prime time, they're not going to help me market you. And, I only get 10% of what you bring in. So you better earn, bitch.
All right. We got a couple of questions from our audience, but I got one more question for you before we get to some of that. There is talk that there are some agencies that are actually charging people to be rep by them, and I'm sure I know how you feel about something like that. I'm big on ethics, and something like that just seems to stink a little bit. Erik?
Yeah, that's not an agency. That's a huge red flag. For years, I've been, I've coached people on how to find a reputable agent. And that's pretty much the biggest red flag. If they're charging, now the lines are getting kind of blurred. Now you have these kind of pay to plays that are acting somewhat as agencies and managers. And so as far as, what it takes there's a lot of people that are almost going as far as tossing around, the A word. And I know they don't have a business license. But if they're charging you for anything aside possibly a fee to be listed on the website, run, because that's not an agent. That's kind of like those disgusting people in the mall that, you could be a model, just purchase this, photo package or whatever. Run fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in this business too, and it's getting kind of annoying. People should just know that. Okay, let's get to some of our chat room questions here. Jay Sawyer asks, how many locations does your agency have, and where are they?
We're all over. The main offices right now, as far as kind of people that are there, full-time, are us in New York, and we have the fantastic Zach Miller working for us down in Florida. Yeah, down in sunny Florida. So I get to hear about how, I'm surfing. Oh, I'm freezing, jerk. And then we have people in Atlanta and out in Los Angeles. But they're, as far as the main offices where you're going to be able to get somebody to, to talk to you direct, it's New York and Florida.
All righty. The lovely and talented Randy K asks, value of voice bank from your point of view.
We're on Voice Bank, and pretty much all the agencies utilize Voice Bank. I could see some people think that, there's a downside to it, and they say, well, it's kind of the pay to play of the agency world. For those who aren't familiar, basically, if you're an agent, you're signed up with them and you have an account, and then people who are, looking to cast will just kind of check off which agencies they want to work with and set up set it up so that you can upload your auditions as an agent through their interface. We've gotten some great stuff that way, but more importantly, we've kind of stolen people from them. That they've been introduced to us because they invited us through a voice bank thing, and then afterwards they said, hey, that was great. Your people are fantastic. Next time, can we just, email you? Yes, you can. That's that's fantastic. So from our experience, it's been all right. The only thing is, if we're getting something, chances are through voice bank, chances are other agents are getting it as well. So we all kind of have to jump as soon as it comes and get it out there, because most talent have a first come, first serve policy. So we got to get that email out there to our talent quick before somebody else beats you to it. So that's a little wacky, but it's it's a big business. So it's a tool in our belt.
All righty. Well, we've got a lot more questions, but we also got to sell some time here. We've got more questions. We want to talk about a couple of other things and see what other people have to say. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on East West Audio Body Shop with Agent Erik Sheppard. VoiceOver Extra, the voiceover industry's online news, education, and resource center 24/7. Hundreds, probably thousands of free how-to articles for voiceover success, ranging from home studio to voice acting to business. A free voiceover industry directory, calendar of industry events, resource links, a store, and much more. Bi-monthly webinars on all topics of voiceover, free subscriptions to newsletters, reports, announcements, daily news, and features at voiceoverextra.com.
This is East West Audio Body Shop with Dan Leonard in the East and George Whittam in the West. Now, back to Dan and George.
Okay, we're back here on East West Audio Body Shop. Erik Sheppard, our guest. But also, we need to talk to you about another guy. Great guy. He's got white hair and a little goatee beard, and he sells the best stuff in voiceover.
Miyagi?
His name is Harlan. Mr. Miyagi. Think voiceover. Harlan Hogan, H2, as most of us know him as. And he's got voiceover essentials. And if you want the best in voiceover stuff and the easiest to get, go on over there.
Check out what
he's got it.
John is modeling tonight.
Yes, John is
modeling the...
I'm wearing the Harlan Hogan voiceover optimized headphones. Yes, they're comfortable. They fit over the ear, even my gigantic ears. They've got memory foam in them. It's almost like lying on one of those fancy overpriced Northern European beds. They're just wonderful. And they have an earphone for each of your two ears, L and R. They've got a squiggly cord, and they make even Dan Leonard sound good.
Wow.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, no, they're great. I've been wearing them all day. It's great. I may sleep in them tonight on my memory foam bed.
Harlan gave me one of his mics before they came out years ago. He was here in New York doing a thing, and we stopped by there, and he said, you gotta. And he opened up the case, and I saw the mic with his signature on it. I was like, man, that's so cool. I want a mic with my signature on it.
No doubt.
I didn't even know what it sounded like yet. I just thought that was cool, Man,
you could just take a Sharpie and do that. It's just like Erik Sheppard.
You could cross out Harlan Hogan's name and then put your own. There you go.
I will say, idea. Some people were like, what's with the naming products and all that stuff? But I'll tell you, this is way more than a hobby, because believe me, doing this kind of thing with China and overseas and coordinating the manufacturer and the customer service and the dealing with, it is a massive pain. It blows my mind that Harlan even does this, but it's pretty cool, and he's got some really unique stuff.
This isn't a vanity project for him at all. It's quality stuff, and I know it's a big pain in the ass for him, but it's it's really some great stuff for the community, and it's from somebody who knows what he's talking about. Can you tell I rep Harlan too?
Anyway, go on over to voiceoveressentials.com and order all his stuff, every last piece of it.
HARLANHOGRF.com.
He always screws up the endings, man.
I'm so good at the beginning, but then the dismount.
Thanks, Harlan.
I'm a 5.3 on that one. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to some of the audience questions, because they are just like flooding us with questions. Devox asks, do you still get CDs or MP3s?
We insist on CDs, actually. I think that's going to wind up changing. Yeah. It's just a great way to kind of weed people out, because most people we're very specific about it. We say, do not send us an email, do not send us attachments, because we're getting hundreds of emails a day anyway that are work related, and then we get all kinds of stuff that we're not looking to get, and just to get tons and tons of emails with these submissions, and we just didn't want it, and it kind of weeds people out when they actually go through the process of sending you a CD, and you get to see their CD and what they put into it and what their how they present themselves. So not to completely judge a book by its cover, but a little bit.
It's the brown and it's the brown M&Ms of the voiceover world. Wasn't that Metallica that said if you put brown M&Ms in our dressing room, we'll know you didn't read the writer close enough, and that could kill us because we've got rigs and stuff, and if you guys don't have a attention to detail, we don't want to work with you. I've heard about an interesting story like that.
Know what? I'll tell you what, man. It's not even so much that there was an attention to detail that they missed where we said, don't send us an email with attachments, because we get so many emails that start off, I know you would like a CD, but I've got my own agenda. So here's 10 attachments. I've said this for years. That's saying, hi, I'd like to enter into a business relationship with you, but I can't take direction to save my life. And we're going to completely start off on the wrong foot by not doing what you guys have asked. And I'm showing that I'm an actor who can't take direction.
I want to thank you for forgiving me for sending my demos in on reel to reel.
I had a
quarter inch or half inch.
Yeah, quarter inch.
It was a cassette, I believe. It was one of those hard
15 IPS
copies,
high quality, buddy. Cassettes.
Sorry.
See, but Taylor still sounded good. Yeah.
Sorry.
So I think that might change just because now, seriously, I mean, nobody's got CDs, but for now. We're still getting them. And also we feel kind of bad because it's creating a lot of garbage and that kind of thing. But for now, we're still insisting on them.
All righty. Randy K has another question here. She says, do you find commercials? Phone's ringing.
Take
it's
two.
going all over the place. Yes. Eric, do you find commercials mostly want Gen Y voices?
Man, it started maybe about... really kind of exploding about 2 years ago, where it seemed like a very, very specific type of genre, where it was young males, kind of like a late 20s type of sound, mid to late 20s type of sound, mid range with maybe like 30% of announcer in there. The pendulum swinging back a little bit into more kind of nice voices, but it was these young mid-range guys were just, we had a couple and it was like, holy cow, man, that's all they wanted. And that was one of those situations where we went out and, we had a conversation here. Hey, we need more of these type of guys. And we went and found more of those type of guys, these younger kind of guys with these nice voices, a little bit of announcer stuff. And I mean, these guys are going to buy me a boat, for God's sakes. They're booking. So, that's one, type of voice that's doing well now. But, I get that's probably the question that I get asked the most, what's booking? Like I have some, I can magically say, well, I know what's booking. Everybody knows what's booking. Turn on the television. You hear the person that's doing the commercial, they booked it. Turn on the radio. It's not some big secret. Any spots that are running, that's who booked it. So, but at least in my, the young guys, they love it.
Yeah. I just wondering, can I submit my demo on?
Wow,
that's great.
My man, you're dating yourself there, buddy.
I am. This is in my museum over here. It actually has a jingle that says, "There's only one Dan Leonard."
And we're all thankful.
I know. Good luck finding a cart machine these days. With the little slider handle on it. Anyway, all right.
That was from back when he had a very small mustache back then.
Very small mustache.
It was three nose hairs that he yanked down and just put some mustache wax on them. And
yes, there we go.
Then it grew in.
Yes. Ed Waldorf asks, isn't it the agent's job to break their talent into how they like to work?
Wait, what?
That's what he said. It's just, he says, isn't it the agent's job to break their talent into how they like to work?
I don't know. I'm a little confused about that. I mean, we have quite a few jobs. Some days it feels like our sole job is just scheduling, which is really about as glamorous as it gets. Can you do Wednesday at 3? I could do 3. Well, I could do 2. Well, what time zone are you in? It's really, kind of ludicrous sometimes. But as far as I try to always be available for any talent that we rep, and we try to give them feedback. And if we notice anything, happening as far as audio quality, or if they're trying something new and we don't think it's working, we'll certainly discuss that with them. But as far as trying to kind of build them up and say, this is how we do things here, that's not really, as a matter of fact, I would think that would kind of be overstepping the boundaries. They've got other agents and they've got their own thing. We have to like how they do their thing and try to put that out there. So, I'm not really in the business of, sculpting other talent and, and saying, well, when in Rome, you have to do like that's just not what we do.
All right. Sort of leading on to that, Devox asks, what gets you to want to listen to a demo and gets you to want to listen longer than, say, just a few seconds, as long as possible? Do you ever listen to the end?
No, I don't think anybody has ever listened to the end of any demo, ever. People are always so concerned about, like the 7th or 8th spot in their commercial demo. I always say, like, you could end your demo with "casting directors eat puppies," and it will make no difference because nobody has ever listened all the way to the end.
Gonna try that.
Of the demo. The main thing, coaches have been saying for a million years, they got like this kind of 7-second rule that you have 7 seconds, and we've certainly turned off demos way before 7 seconds. I've turned off demos before they even started talking because the first thing I heard was a hiss. And, well, if this is what they're putting out, forget about it. But I'm sure people could differ, and there's a lot of people out there who create demos professionally, and I have a lot of respect for them. But as far as I'm concerned, I think there's really only one way to do it, especially in like a commercial demo, which 99% of the agents are going to listen to that first. Even if you say, well, I'm really more of an animation talent, they're going to want to listen to your commercial demo. I think there's no room for a slow burn. You have to absolutely kill them, knock them out of the water, destroy them with the first spot. The whole game is you're trying to keep their finger off the stop button, is to get them to keep listening. So that first spot has to make me go, wow, okay, that's something. It can't be a B-side. You got to get them right off the, right from the get-go. And then when I'm listening to the second spot, if I get that far, because I love the first spot, I'm usually kind of looking for a departure.
Contrast.
Contrast, yes.
Not that you have to do a million different things necessarily, but at least some difference in tone. If your second spot sounds a whole lot like the first spot, I'm kind of going, yeah, I know you could do that. I got it. What else? What else can you do? So if the second spot's a bit of a departure, that's always fantastic. And even if, you kind of do your thing, hey, that's fine. But, change the tone, change the emotion behind it. And then the third spot just has to be strong as well. Hopefully maybe a little different from the first two spots, maybe a little more upbeat, whatever it is. But that's got to be a strong spot. Anything after that, it's just friggin' gravy. Anybody really who's in the business, they've already made their decision by them, whether they like you or they hate you. But so it's, that's how those are the demos I like to hear. They kill me in the beginning, and then they surprise me with their range. And then I know they could keep it up, and, then hopefully they get a phone call.
Yeah. A couple of people asked about this. What do you think of something like, say, VoiceZam, where you can skip to individual tracks? VoiceZam I think is interesting. It came out and I dig it. Last I had checked, I thought it was a little pricey for what it was, but it seemed to kind of be a cool thing. It's certainly, it can't hurt. Especially if perhaps you are. Yeah, I can only really speak right now from an agent's perspective. So perhaps we're listening to. A spot trying to vet a talent, and we're listening to their demo. We're saying, hey, you know what? I'm not really crazy about this, and you can kind of hit the next button.
that's all well and good. But perhaps more important than that is you should have a well-crafted commercial demo where they're not going to they don't need to skip ahead.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight, Erik. Plus, we're out of questions. But we'll talk again sometime and get you back on again. You never. What's going on here? Somebody turned their speaker on. Suddenly, I'm confused. We're gonna.
Sorry, Dan. I think that might have been on this end. I'm not sure.
Thank you. It was on your end.
We got to get an engineer over there.
I know. It's if you only knew.
You guys know any interns?
That went into this.
I need an intern.
We need an intern out there in Santa Monica. Great having you with us tonight, and as always, your opinions are greatly admired by the throngs that listen to the show and watch it and stuff like that.
Well, they should be.
As well, they should.
I mean, thank you.
You're welcome, and your cufflinks are on the way. So
here.
All right. What type of cufflinks do you like, by the way?
Solid gold, baby.
Solid gold.
Diamond.
Get the solid gold cufflinks. Anyway, Erik Sheppard, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being with us. If they want to get in touch with you and send you their demo.
I was the only one applauding there for a second. It was kind of creepy.
I gave you a golf clap.
I do that just walking around the house. I take out the trash. Erik Sheppard.
He's taking out the trash.
Nicely done.
He's winding up. Oh, and it went right in the dumpster. Look at that.
Anyway, if they would like to contact you and perhaps send you their cart, where would they get a hold of you?
They should go to voicetalentproductions.com. And all the information is there, and you could see Dan's smiling face and mustache there, and here's some other fabulous talent, the cream of the crop. And if you're not at least as good as those guys, you might want to look elsewhere.
All right.
But otherwise, say hi.
All right, excellent. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy.
All righty. Well, we're getting towards the end of things here.
We're going to jump to a little break here, and we'll come right back.
All right.
Do I tell you the Jay Leno story?
Yeah, do that when we come back.
Okay, cool.
And now back to the only webcast done with 2 cans, 2 geeks, and a string. East-West Audio Body Shop, with George Whittam on his end in the West, and Dan Leonard in the East.
Okay, very good. Okay, we're back here on East-West Audio Body Shop. John, you had a story you wanted to tell us about Jay Leno? Because tonight is, Jimmy Fallon's first night on it.
I know it is, but and I drove past Burbank Friday night, and it was kind of sad. Because usually you would see people in line ready to go into the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. All of those jobs.
There.
Yeah.
I waited in that line, and my dad and I were the last two to...
Really?
The first two to not get in.
All right. Let me tell you...
Sorry.
Let me tell you a little Jay Leno story. So anyway, back in 1995, I was back east, and I was on the radio, and I came down with this weird illness, and I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and people didn't know what it was. I went to all these doctors. Eventually, they figured it out. They gave me some steroids, and I was fine. But it was just getting to the point where people were like, what the hell's going on with John? Anyway, a friend of mine had moved to Hollywood, and he had a job where he had the boss's Rolodex, and he had the home numbers of all of these celebrities. And what I didn't know was that he had been calling famous people and saying, hey, could you call my friend John back in Massachusetts? He's very sick. Just call him and cheer him up. Well, the phone rang, and the first call from a celebrity I didn't know was coming was from Jay Leno. So I answered the phone, sick. Hello. Hey, John, it's me, Jay Leno, calling from The Tonight Show. I just thought I'd call you up because Steve said you weren't feeling well and wanted to cheer you up. And I was like, Steve, your Jay Leno impression sucks. I'm sick. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. No, seriously, it's me. I swear to God, it's Jay Leno. I just wanted to... No, Jay Leno doesn't sound anything like that. Stop bothering me. Ugh. Well, if you don't believe it's me, here's the number, 818, blah, 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 blah. Write it down here. Yeah, call back, and I'll talk to you, okay? All right. So I call back the number, and I'm like, blah, yeah. They answer the phone. A woman answers, Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And I'm like, well, anybody could have their friend sitting on the couch answering the phone, right? Pretending it was the Tonight Show. Well,
jokers.
And so I said, Hi, it's John Taylor. Jay said I should call back. And she goes, 1 moment, Mr. Taylor. And she puts me on hold. And I hear this. NBC music. Oh, my God. It's really Jay Leno. I can't believe Jay Leno would be calling me a nobody. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Hello. Jay, it's really you. Jay Leno. I can't believe you would be calling me. Who is this? It's John Taylor. You don't sound anything like John Taylor. Hangs up the phone.
The end?
No, it's not the end. He called back and he talked to me for like a half an hour. He was the nicest guy, and that's just to let you know what kind of a good egg Jay Leno is. And I have a feeling that you were going to see him back. And
I want to see him do a car show.
I watch him do his car show online all the time.
I love it. I'm going to be like following
Jay's Garage.
Classic cars around Burbank, hoping to find out where Jay... It's at the Burbank airport. He's got a big hangar and there's 200 cars
Several hangars.
Yeah. And now, but I think he's going to be back on some sort of show, on some sort of network.
I'm sure he will.
Stay tuned, people. But it won't be...
Yes, the end of that.
Yes. Okay. Well, we have a few announcements for those of you who have kindly stayed around with us, all thousands of you that are with us tonight. First off, we need to thank our donors, who are the latest. Well, Erik Aragoni, every Sunday we get something from Erik Aragoni. Eric, if you're listening or watching, mwah, we love you. Thank you so much. And
we also had one coming from Lee Penny and Jeffrey Chambers, and from Third Hour Media, LLC. You know who you are.
We know who you are, too. Thank you very much for that. Also, we have a new YouTube channel, youtube.com/EWABS show with 2 S's, EWABS SHOW.
That's right.
So go over there like that, and you can watch the show from there. If you can't make it on a Monday night, we understand, there's other things that might be going. Bowling league,
Olympics.
Olympic, it's your book club night, that sort of thing.
Binge watching Netflix, House of Cards season 2.
Anyway, you can watch it on YouTube. All 132 episodes. By the way, our 3rd year anniversary is coming up in about a month, if you can believe that.
What are we going to do?
3 years.
Just be another show.
It'll just be another show. By the way, it's our 3rd anniversary.
We're not here to pat each other on the back. We're here to do great shows.
I can't. You're 2,300 miles from here.
Yeah, that's right.
I just did it for you.
I stayed up all night making playlists on that EWABS show channel on YouTube. So go over there. All the episodes are in a playlist. We've got tips of the week. We got all sorts of stuff, all organized nice and neatly in there for you. So check it out.
That's right. That's right.
And please subscribe.
Please subscribe there. Also, we've got a new thing called EWABS Essentials, which is coming soon. We're going to give you little chunks of EWABS. We've got the tips of the week. We've got the Whittam's Worlds. We've got stuff like John's story about Jay Leno and some of the great stuff that Eric just told us. Some of the other, Dr. Bernstein, who will be with us, joining us again, who I actually saw. I see him every Sunday morning. We take a class together. So
Dry mucus is a booger.
Pilates?
That's right. Pilates? No, it's not Pilates. If I told you what it is, you'd go, oh, never mind. EWABS Essentials is going to be a great service. We want you to get some short little chunks of EWABS and great wisdom from all the fabulous guests we've had. And so that will be online very shortly. So we'll give you a little bit more information about that next week. Speaking about next week, lovely lady will be joining us, former agent and now a voiceover marketer, Celia Siegel, who I saw actually, sort of wandering through the chat room a little while ago.
Yes, I did see Celia Siegel somewhere in cyberspace.
Good idea. We're dynamite.
She reminds me of Cecilia Sisson, the silent screen star. It's a different story.
Yes. We'll save that for the next time you're on. Or you can call in and tell her that story when she's on next week. Anyway, Celia will be with us. She's great. She knows all about how to market yourself better. So that'll be fun having her on. First Monday in March, we're going to be doing our Audio Masters Roundtable. Don't miss it. It's going to be great. And we've got a couple other features we're working on too. Change the way we do our Hangouts a little bit, and so that'll be fun. March 10th. Johnny Heller, if you've never listened to Johnny Heller, you're going to love him. Guy really knows what he's talking about when it comes to audiobooks and other stuff. Great guy. March 17th, Liz Dineshera will be with us. And yes, I pronounced her name right. And I know this was in the chat room earlier also. She is just great with multilingual stuff and running your business and all sorts of great stuff.
I can't even pronounce her name.
I did.
I can't do it, though.
Dineshera. It's not a big deal. Let's see, March 24th, our 3rd anniversary show. We're not sure what we're going to do. March 31st, hopefully we'll get Dr. Bernstein back on here. And then April 7th, we're going to have a voice actors roundtable from some of the masters of voice acting. So April 7th, we're booked all the way to April.
We're going to do roundtables every single month.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fantastic. Every 6 months, we're going to rotate the top. Well, every month we'll rotate the topic. So every 6 months, we'll come back around the circle. But folks, this ain't a show just about microphones.
No.
This is about the voiceover business. And you guys are going to get to learn a lot on the show going forward. So we got big plans.
It's going to be great. And we'll get people from our audience in there, and they'll get to join the roundtable and ask questions, and then we kick them out. So that'll be fun. Also, I'd like to thank our sponsors, of course, Harlan Hogan, VoiceOver Extra, Edge Studio. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at EWABS_show, and subscribe to us on our new YouTube channel. And please love our videos, because they're there.
We're also brought to you by the iScrews Kit. If thumb screws aren't enough, try iScrews.
Yes. J.S. Gilbert makes those.
He had a blast with you guys, by the way. We got to see him.
He did.
Yeah, he loves you guys.
We had fun.
He's a great guy. Why don't you give the final thank you?
I will. Thank you, wives. Thank you, wives. Thank you, wives. Thank you, wives.
Thank you, wives.
Kathy Curtin, production, our lovely producer who books all these guests. Thank you, Kathy.
All the way to April 7th.
She's
Absolutely
lovely. Anthony Gettig is helping us with the chat room, and Jason Lawson, who does show notes, and Lee Pinney, and Jack DeGolia is starting to provide notes for us for our essentials. And
read the notes; they're there.
God, we have so much great information. It's my
and we'd like to thank Mr. Haney for getting us ISDN off of that poll.
Thank God.
Oh man, should we go for the longest show in history? No, we got a long way to go to get the longest show in history.
We have to get there. I have to go back to the RE20 so I can sound like I'm on the radio.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anyway, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks, John, for being with us tonight.
Oh, it's always fun, you guys.
High five.
Can I put it down here somewhere and you can reach up? Anyway.
That was my raise the roof move.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Anyway, that's going to do it for us tonight. 10:30, not too bad. I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
I'm George Whittam in the West.
And I'm John Taylor.
Yeah, wherever you are. And together we all are East West Audio Body Shop. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
We'll see you next week.
Live music.